And we're back. Game number 2 between TongFu and Invictus Gaming on the way. Game number 1, pretty one-sided. Gotta call it how we sees it and how we sees it, as IG just kind of ran TongFu out of the game, capitalizing on everything TongFu gave them, winning the laning phase handily. All 3 lanes definitely in favor of IG. And TongFu going to be looking to bounce back now after even aside from the loss of the laning phase and what have you. Some questionable decision-making all throughout. Going to have to try and gather themselves to force a Game 3 if they want to have a shot at the Final Four.
I think they're a team who's definitely capable of that. I mean, TongFu is like, they've been around for a really long time. I mean, not in name, of course, but the teammates themselves and the players are no strangers to this position. They're going to be able to come back, I think, and not really feel too stressed about the first game. They know, being a high-level team, exactly when we're wrong. It doesn't really, like you said, it didn't take a necessarily high-skill player to go, okay, well, you guys pretty much just lost all your lanes. Typically, when you're playing Dota, you want to win at least 1, if not 2. That kind of helps. But it looks like TongFu is not going to be messing around here, as they're going to ban out the Darkseer this time around straight away, which I think is a step in the right direction.
Yep, Naga Siren banned out as well. She's kind of taken up slot in the permanently banned hero pool anymore. We actually, like, the first day we got the cast, I want to say the day after she came out. We actually saw her played quite a bit, and since then have very, very rarely seen her survive the ban pool. But if you go to Join Dota, by the way, you want to see, there's a lot of questions that we've seen throughout the community, even been tweeted at about it, is what's the answer to Naga Siren and the fact that she just gives you perfect initiation every time. If you go to Join Dota and check out the weekly top 5, you can see a great cast between Draskell and I, LGD versus eHome, and they had an answer, and his name was Disruptor, and it was really interesting to watch the way that played out. So if you're interested in Naga Siren and ways you can try to shut her down, make sure you head over to Join Dota. Our good buddies, also here on Own3D TV, and they're streaming right now, so hopefully you're listening. Well, never mind, that would have been stupid. I was going to say you're listening to me, or to us, or to Toby, as I'm pretty sure he's live now, but if you're listening to Toby, you're not hearing me, so never mind, I'm an idiot. Lycan and Brewmaster, the second band's coming out.
The Brewmaster is actually a little bit strange coming out from TongFu, because I don't know if it's necessarily huge in the Asian scene, but Brewmaster is a strong hero in all phases of the game, I guess you could say. He does kind of fall off in terms of the mid to late. The one thing that people have been abusing lately, and I'm not sure if they fixed it with the latest patch, I actually don't think they have, is you can actually smoke when Brewmaster's illusions are out, and the smoke doesn't break as long as there's no other hero within range. So it's kind of, I guess you could consider a bug, but some teams have been known to abuse that. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth banning out Brewmaster unless you don't want to exploit bugs, which I guess is a good thing if you're IG or TongFu. You don't really want to be known as a team who exploits, but I mean, that hero is completely reliant on his ultimate in terms of the mid-game to bring any potential, and you can hard counter him with an item that costs 100 gold. So I'm not sure if TongFu is just really scared about playing against it, or if they wanted to get something else for their first pick. But Furion and Chen both making it pretty far into the ban phase, and I think this is because TongFu has learned their lesson of, if you give away a Darkseer and heroes like Invoker to IG, who plays them both very, very well, then you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to do. Leshrac going to be the ban coming out from TongFu. Doubt very seriously IG is going to ban out Invoker. We couldn't, I mean, depending on who they go with here, Invoker, Chen, and Furion, as you mentioned, all 3 remain in the pool, and we're likely to see at least a couple of them picked up very quickly, as is CK, and as is Earthshaker, by the way. We didn't see Shaker prioritized last time around. Furion is going to be banned out. So we'll see if TongFu wants to try and take that Invoker away, or if they just want to go with something like a CK.
I'm not really sure. I think TongFu last game, they had the CK, and they really didn't make much happen with it. No. I mean, they tried to make something happen too early. It would have been much safer for them to just let the CK sit in the lane, get his farm up, at the very least get a BKB before he started being very active. Yeah. I mean, he had his drum and treads up at about the time that he should have, maybe a couple of minutes late, which isn't too big of a deal, but he just ended up not getting anything else after that. Yeah. I mean, he had his Ogre Club in the next, what, 25 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, his farm just was non-existent, so if they are going to go the CK route, again, I wouldn't put it past him. CK is still a very, very strong hero. We saw his potential damage output, even with no farm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they are going to take him again. It's just, hopefully this time they can put him in more of a position to be successful. That's what I'm worried about.
Yep, Chen and Invoker, as expected, 2 very strong picks out of IG. And I'm kind of with, like, again, TongFu's drafting. Like, I wouldn't say TongFu was out-drafted last time. They drafted a team that had to have a level of success early on, and they really didn't play their heroes in a way that gave them the best chance in the world for that. This time around, though, I don't know that a CK is worth giving away a Chin and an Invoker for. Leshrac, scary. Darkseer, don't mind that. Brewmaster ban, as you mentioned, just questionable in and of itself. But you've got a hellaciously good mid right now in Invoker. It's going to be played by one of the best Invoker players on the planet. Okay, TA. There we go. I was actually just going to mention that TA was still in, and that might be a hero you may want to try to send mid, and to give you that potency in the mid game that TongFu lacked so visibly. They had Anti-Mage who was going to be trying to arc towards the late game, but again, he was going to be looking to build defensive, and he got 0 farm, just shut down completely in his lane. With that Templar Assassin, if she can have even a moderate start, doesn't have to go crazy, just a decent enough start to get to level 6, to get a few levels under her belt, get a couple of items up, especially a Blink Dagger. If she can get a Blink Dagger at a decent amount of time, that pick alone is going to give CK a little bit more time to get his farm up so that they can synergize together in the late game. And the Rubik, of course, just a good defensive pick and making sure that those heroes are going to have the time they need to stay alive and to get those levels and the farm.
I like TongFu's picks a lot more this time around,
Yeah.
especially because I haven't seen an Anti-Mage yet when you already have a CK. I mean, that's the one thing that I guess I would fault them for in the last stage of the game. But again, they had a pretty clever idea. It just didn't end up working out. They took a risk by taking the AM and saying, okay, well, if the Darkseer's here, things are going to be good. If he's not here, then, well, what do?
Yeah.
That's basically what TongFu said last game. And in reality, I think that TongFu's lanes are going to be much stronger. Again, they're going to have the Rubik and the CK probably paired together. TA's a great mid. Actually, probably one of the best mids, I would say, with Refraction and Meld. I mean, you can just do so much damage. You don't have to really worry about ever getting harassed out of lane. People have to commit to buying sentries and dust just to kill you. I think that TA is a very, very strong pick overall, and Asian teams especially have been using her quite a bit, I would say, in the last couple of weeks. So looking forward to see what she can accomplish. But IG going to go ahead and take Morphling. This is, I mean, you can't really question a Morphling pick. I mean, last game they ran it to almost perfection. I mean, he had a ridiculous amount of farm. I think it was Zhao playing him last game, and he did a phenomenal job. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do this game.
Yeah, it's I like the Morphling pickup as well. Enigma is going to be banned out by TongFu, and I guess that makes sense. You know, again, it's both teams pretty wide open. TA kind of a waste to send anywhere but to mid, so you can figure that's where she'll be. Rubik and CK going to do just fine, working together. Got a lot of stun potential there. Sand King still in the pool. We'll see if IG wants to try and pick up that Sand King if he happens to survive. I don't really see TongFu picking up the Sand King. I mean, it's not like it would be a horrible pick, but I don't know that that's what they need right now. They need at least one more solid support, as well as, well, I mean, they've got their mid. They kind of need a long lane unless they want to do something kind of nutty and go with a 2-2-1 or a 2-1-2, but 2-2-1's kind of ruled out by the fact that you've got the TA, so not as many options on the side of TongFu as we see for IG at the moment. Of course, Chen going to be hanging out in the jungle, defensive tri-lane, the most likely way to run that, but who knows? The only thing I feel pretty confident about is we're going to see Ferrari on Invoker, and he's going to be bossing it up mid.
Yeah, last game he did a great job. I mean, it's kind of fun to see the Quaswax Invoker again. That's always been very strong. I think it's a more stable build, especially in terms of like the mid game where you know you can land decent tornadoes and EMPs, and we saw the effect it had. I mean, heroes like the AM and the CK lost his entire mana pool to 1 EMP.
Yeah.
And where is your presence after that? You know, it's not like CK builds mana items just to make sure that he doesn't have to worry about getting EMP'd. It just doesn't happen. So with that being said, I think that we could potentially see Ferrari do the same build again. Like, they have a CK and they have a TA, heroes who aren't known for a great base mana pool. And that build pretty much stops your aggression due to the fact that you can't use your stun, you can't Reality Rift, you can't use anything. So I think that Invoker going to be a really, really big factor here once again.
I'd be kind of surprised if IG doesn't ban out Shadow Demon here. I think Shadow Demon would fit in really well with TongFu in terms of running, especially if they decide to run a tri-lane with CK, Rubik, and of course the Shadow Demon. That's going to give that some deadly potential. Templar Assassin at any point can perhaps leave that mid lane to try and go gank, or Shadow Demon can leave the tri-lane and try to come gank mid. They're actually going to ban out Ancient Apparition, so I can only imagine. I mean, Shadow Demon fits in well with either of these teams right now. Sand King did get banned out by TongFu, so they don't want to see that Sand King working alongside the Morphling and the Invoker 2 games in a row. But it's been a while since we've seen Shadow Demon go this deep, and actually Veno going to be picked up first.
Well, the Veno pick, actually, I'm a little bit... I don't know if that's really the right way to go, you know? Because, I mean, now IG has the opportunity to pick up Shadow Demon, which is I mean, they're going to have 3 of the 5 heroes that they had last game, and we saw the results of what they could do with that
Right.
kind of lineup, and it's just really, really scary. I mean, obviously now we're not going to see the Sand King because it was banned out, but having a Shadow Demon, especially with a CK against the Morphling, is amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, no hero is too tanky at that point, right? I mean, you have Crit, you have Phantasm, which does a ridiculous amount of damage. You get a good 4-second stun, and even Morphling can die in that. I mean, that's what I really thought that TongFu was going to be looking for here, but they're going to take Venomancer. It's a very safe pick because you can just ward up all over the map with your Plague Wards, not really get ganked or anything like that, which is great. But how are they going to kill Morphling? I mean, they do have TA and CK, which are really, really strong damage output heroes, but
Right.
I don't think that, because I believe Zhao's going to be playing it again, I don't know if he's ever going to be in a position where he can be killed like that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm double surprised. I was surprised IG let Shadow Demon through, and I'm really surprised TongFu didn't pick him. And then IG's taking their sweet time here. Again, I'll be baffled, literally just baffled. Hands up in the air, baffled, if IG doesn't pick up Shadow Demon here. But we'll see one way or the other. Either way, if you're just joining us, there he is. They pick him up as soon as I go to do our plugs and such, but thank you for joining us. I'm AC, that's Draskell. Game number 2 of this round of 8 matchup between TF and IG with TongFu trailing 0-1. Bounty Hunter going to round out things for TongFu, and that's not a terribly bad pick. I don't think that's going to be their long lane. They needed a long lane, just because I don't know that they had any other way to run the lineup they had picked up other than just a flat-out tri-lane. And we'll see what IG wants to do. I mean, they're going to be running the defensive tri-lane, I would imagine, with Chen, Shadow Demon babysitting the Morphling, of course, Invoker mid. Now, they're probably going to be needing a long lane as well. Beastmaster still in the pool would give them some much-needed initiation, would certainly help Morphling out with some attack speed as well, allow them to be a little creative in stacking the Ancients. They are going to be on the dire side, much easier to stack those Ancients if you're playing Beastmaster on that side anyway.
It is quite a bit easier, too, and I like the Bounty Hunter pick. Because especially, again, these are just heroes where if you're going to be putting them into a long lane, you want the other team to, wow, okay, I was not expecting a Lifestealer
Yeah.
pick. But back to the Bounty Hunter for just a second. This is a case where you have a hero who's going to have to, you're going to have to spend money to kill him.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to. And that's always a good situation to be in. It's the same reason why TA is so strong mid. Again, being able to meld in place, and you're going to be playing against an Invoker who can tornado you out, I believe. I think it does break Invis and meld. I don't think is an exception to that. But just in general, I think that TongFu has picked a much stronger lineup this game. The Lifestealer pick, that's one thing that I'm kind of puzzled by.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's going to be going solo lane against the Bounty Hunter. Maybe they're expecting the BH to be top, played by Sancheng, and then he's going to be going up against the Lifestealer, which they'll both pretty much just farm in that lane. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're just going to go ahead and put the Morphling in the safe lane, though. They could be doing a 2-1-2, which would be just mind-blowing. I don't think they're going to do that, though. I think they're just going to do the aggressive try with the Chen, which makes more sense. And
Yeah.
having open wounds at level 1 and a Shadow Demon who can disrupt and help you get kills is a lot of kill potential for sure. And also helps Chen get into position if they get something like a Net Creep or a Centaur even to be able to line up their stun. So we'll see if they can make anything happen here. But all of TongFu kind of just sitting around.
Yep, they're going to be running that aggressive tri-lane, as you pointed out. Really brilliant pick when you think about it, as you just ran through all the good reasons, as always. Draskell dropping knowledge bombs on folks. But, yeah, this is going to be... I thought we were going to have a fairly stable early game, but if both teams stick with what they're showing us so far, we could see fireworks early on. Zhao, of course, going to be the main priority here in safe lane solo. And if he has a poor start, that's all TongFu's going to need to capitalize. We got a good look in game number 1 at just how much of a gap you can open up if you have a main carry have a poor start. But Sancheng is hanging near the rune here, so it looks like it is going to be Morphling taking on Bounty Hunter in that solo lane. And now, actually no, Chuan is moving up the top. So he's going to be not going aggressive. They're going to run a 2-1-2 with Chen in the jungle.
Yeah, this is a little unexpected, actually. I thought that he would kind of stick around here. He does have sentries, though, so maybe he thinks that San might have wards on him, which he doesn't, so he's not going to be able to stop any creep pulling or stuff like that. So in terms of the 1v1, Morphling's obviously going to come out here a bit ahead. Not too much, though. It's not like Morphling is an amazing ranged here. I mean, he's only 350 range.
Yep.
So they should both pretty much be able to CS here relatively even, as, like barring any Chen ganks and stuff like that. But bottom's really going to be the story.
Rubik's going to be picked up. There's a DD. Venomous Gale catches both. First point has been put into open wounds. Awoke looks to be our first blood, and he will be, most certainly. They are going to get Shadow Demon for their trouble as TA's there. But again, it just kind of doesn't matter. First blood already on the board. So TongFu keeps it close. But with IG capitalizing on the double damage rune, getting first blood as quickly as possible, off to a good start. And it is going to be CK, actually, here in mid. Now, this is always a bit of a risk. You know, it's not to say TA's terrible in lane, and she's going to be able to just kind of hang out by herself the majority of the time, with Veno just skirting around the edges here, doing what he can to try and keep any heroes from IG back away. But it is a risk. She has to do exceptionally well down there, and especially now that Awoke has moved up to mid to try and help out CK. If they can kill her once, maybe even twice, if they can kill her even once, TongFu is going to be hurting. They kill her twice, it's a lost lane, no doubt about it. They've already given up the first blood, and there is absolutely no room for error now. That refraction is good, but we've seen IG execute so far as playing very aggressive, and now with the aggressive tri-lane out of Chuan as Chen rotates down, could get a lot more dangerous very, very quickly.
It is going to be a very dangerous position, and they're actually counter-warding too, which is definitely good out of IG because that's where lane ganks come from
Ferrari
most of the time.
is gonna die. Got way out of position there. And good damage followed by a Chaos Bolt. Now here we go, Refraction's gonna be popped, but there's the Soul Catcher and now the open wounds. This is bad, bad news. The loss of Ferrari is a big deal, but they cannot have their TA die. They just can't have that happen. At most, they can get away with giving up one death. She dies one more time, TongFu is going to be way behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is some really strange movement. I'm not really sure why the Venomancer left in the first place. If he had been there, I think it would have been a lot harder for the TA to actually drop there. Gale probably would have hit everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, the positioning might have been slightly different, but even Gale hitting even the Ursa or being able to walk away from the Nakes, it would have been pretty easy for the TA to get rid of the gank, or get away from the gank in that position, but having the CK soloing now, as Rubik has made his way back to bottom against an Invoker, like, CK is not going to win that lane.
No. Has no chance to. And again, just kind of question, I mean, it's creative laning, but sending TA like into the tri-lane like this, I just feel like is a completely unnecessary risk. Basically, she has to do exceptionally well to break even. Like that, and anytime you're in that kind of a situation, you're just taking a risk almost for the sake of it. I mean, yes, there's a potential she could get 1 or 2 kills down here and get way, way ahead. But given how well IG has, how good of a job IG has done predicting the movement, predicting the timings of what TongFu is going to be up to, and just look, they're zoning the supports completely out. Awoke can't get anywhere near the lane. He's all the way back to the tier 2 tower right now. Can't even get close.
Yeah, this is a really strange decision by TongFu in general. I mean, the TA in a tri-lane, yeah, TA does a tremendous amount of damage, but he needs to be very, very close before 6. It's not like he's bringing anything in terms of crowd control to the table until he gets his trap up. And Invoker dies again mid, so that's definitely good. At the very least, Awoke doing what he can to help out the CK, and that's really going to be the saving grace right now. Although, on the other hand, Bounty Hunter is actually sitting at 14 and 4, and Zhao is only at 14 and 6, so they're still pretty much dead even in terms of CS. And I would say overall, this game is looking a lot closer in terms of the laning phase than the last game.
Yep, no, I agree. Them picking off Invoker a couple of times is a big deal, but he is building Quas Wex, so he was going to be playing a more supportish Invoker anyway. So him losing, him dying sucks, of course, means 4 Staff Scythe Device is going to be delayed, but it's not the same as if they were relying on him for a major amount of damage output. And TA, of course, that's just what TA does. TA is always going to be looking to hit that stride right about 20 minutes where she just goes berserk. Speaking of, she's going to man mode it, chasing down Faith and Chuan. Manages to pick off the Ursa creep as well. Chuan with the haste rune popped. Looks like it did wear off. And now we're going to have a disruption. Off goes the Venomous Gale. Faith is in some trouble, as is Fukabu. And yeah. This is what TongFu has to do. If they can continue to execute like this and at least trade evenly, and so long as TA is getting the kills, they're going to be in beautiful shape.
Trading support for support, I think, is okay for pretty much both teams, in all honesty. It's just really who gets the kills. And right there, it looks like TA and Lifestealer both got him respectively. So that was pretty much just a wash.
Yep.
I don't really think anyone got too far ahead because of that. YOAF choosing to go phase, though, not going to get the attack speed from the treads or the health. He just wants to use his rage for all his attack speed because it does have diminishing returns if you go for treads and then you max out rage anyway.
Yep.
So I think he's just going for the most amount of damage output that he can feasibly get in the early stages. Going to see another rotation by IG going towards mid to possibly pick off CK, so reversing it a bit here from IG. Want to try to make a kill happen. I think they can very easily. I'm pretty sure they can just dive this.
Let's see if they won. No, they're just going to loop around. Looks like they knew it was spotted. So they're just going to pull back TA now. Now, this is a situation IG really can't allow. They cannot allow TA to get free farm here. She is going to go ahead and phase boots and pop the refraction as well. But, I mean, depending on how conscious they were of the movement there out of Shadow Demon and Shen, she had to feel pretty safe, or at least know that they were going to be making their way back and know when it was time to get out of dodge. But, yeah, Bounty Hunter's still doing a pretty solid job. Morphling's up a few CS, but not enough to really be worth mentioning. And now even taking a little bit of... And this is actually, yeah, this is working out a lot closer than game number 1. And I feel like IG's kind of making the same mistake in a way that TongFu made. They're moving around a little bit too much and not getting a lot out of it. Faith and Xuan are continuing to move, and there's no way they're going to go up here and pick off a bounty hunter, at least not in the near future.
It's going to be really tough for them, even if they do. Again, it's just a hero where you have to buy something to kill him. It's just not the most effective use of your time. We're going to see the Shadow Demon make his way up here from IG, but again, he doesn't have anything. So yeah, he's just going to go ahead and turn around and be like, why am I here? I'm just going to go ahead and stack and pull the wave instead.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. It's the same kind of mistake we saw in game 1, except on the other side of the coin. 4-3, the current kill score. 7 minutes in, we'll take a look at the gold graph. Looks like it's in favor of Dire, but only 500 gold, so literally only a few CS separating these two teams right now. And wow, yep, they are going to pick off Morphling. Oh wow, no they're not. He is, where'd he go? There he is.
Replicator,
yeah. I didn't know where the replicate was. Managed to make it to safety. He's got to be careful. Oh, is he? Yep, okay, he's got his buddies there with him. Didn't know if he was going to...
Well, they also picked off the Rubik mid. Nakes and Ferrari managed to get another kill on support, which is good. So 4-4, man. Pretty close game. I mean, this is like really strange movement, though. Like, I'm trying to find a purpose behind why the Shadow Demon and the Chen have both thought it necessary to go top lane. And Sheng's going to take some damage here, but he's not really that worried about it.
Yeah. Very much agreed. And
oh, now they have Dust. Okay.
Yeah. And they may just go for a pick and push here. And Sun Sheng is actually going to move down right by the Ursa creep. He's moving down into the river. Let's see if and when he's going to be spotted. Moving back up now. Still got Shrek on Morphling. TA did pick up a double damage rune, which is always scary. Xuan and Faith continuing to hang out in the jungle, and it looks like Bounty Hunter knows. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and TP back home. Just having that good game sense to know he was probably going to be in danger. In the meantime, TongFu has reassembled. They put the band back together, the tri-lane back together. It looks like they want to push this tower. They may try to dive YYF. And they're going to catch him with the ulti from TA, but not going to pursue him. Just going to do what damage they can to the tower. It looks like Faith, Zhao, and Xuan are going to take that as their... Nope, Zhao is actually going to TP out. Thought for sure they're going to try and push there.
Oh, YYF, buddy.
It's, this is really weird on both sides, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, that was obvious that dive was coming, no doubt about it. And let's see if TongFu wants to go ahead and push to tier 2. IG is gonna go ahead and take the tier 1. Sansheng now in mid. He's got the track on the Invoker. Just going to go ahead and farm up. And yeah, they're going to push to tier 2. And there's no reaction so far. IG finally manages to bring down the tier 1 top. Tier 2 bottom down to half health now. DD's popped on Mu. Just continuing to just pound on that tower. Finally, Ferrari making his way over. Going to have to be careful though. Could just melt the TA if he gets caught out of position. CK not far away as well. Maxed out Chaos Bolt. YYF's making his way back up. DD Rune is gone, and Morphling is going to go ahead. And it looks like he is thinking about trying to push here. Vito's going to react, though. But yeah, both teams playing really passively, I guess. I mean, we had the dive, but just some weird movement, some weird decision-making, and a lot of passivity so far as actually committing to these fights.
It is really, really weird. I mean, it seems like both teams are trying to think a step ahead of their opponent, but they're not really quite getting to that point. And now you just have awkward tower trades where it's like, okay, well, we don't know where the bounty hunter is. We do have Dust, but there's no way we can know if he's here or not, so we're just not even going to blow it. We're going to go and try to get a tier 1 trade. Tier 1 for tier 1, which, again, pretty much even in terms of golden experience. Like, the game is within 250 in both regards at this point, maybe a little bit above 250 in gold, but, I mean, IG is not really ahead at all at this particular stage in the game. And I don't know, like, if... It's been so long since I've seen a lifestealer, if I know if that hero farming is a good thing for IG. It's like he's going for a drum, from what I can tell. I mean, he picked up a bracer in the face, so he's going for more of a movement-oriented build, and Sheng might be dead mid.
Now Faith is going to drop as well. Now we got TP reactions coming in. IG on the run. Ferrari is going to be picked up by Rubik, thrown back. But here comes Morphling, looking to do some damage, giving chase. There's the open wounds. That's going to be enough to lock down Hao. He's going to drop. IG arrives just in time to bail themselves out. Zhao now just about to drop. Chen keeps everyone in fighting shape. TA really non-committal here. Did not do as much damage in that fight as I think she was looking to. Instead, just kind of popped Refraction and hung around the top side. All of IG now in mid, dropping the ward in the river even. And there's the blink from TA. And now this is what's going to make or break TongFu. TA has got to just start being a complete force on the map. She's got to be a force of nature. If you're going to rush out the blink like we just saw, I mean, he went phase boots first bottle, that's fine, all typical stuff. But if you're going to get the blink dagger, you're going to bring it out this quickly, she has to strike fear into IG. She has to, if not get kills, at least keep everyone scared to cross the river. If she dies more than she deals in the next 5-10 minutes, then TongFu's really going to be hurting.
And not only that, but they're also going to have to worry about stuff like track as well. Running away from a TA who has a track on you, like, you're not getting away, just simply put. I mean, not even in the Invoker. He can't do his aptly named QQ walk, as you call it. He can't ghost walk. He can't do anything to get away from ganks like that. You're going to have 20% extra move speed, not to mention the minus armor synergy between the TA and the bounty hunter to boot, which is going to make you basically just explode. I'm pretty sure if TA just hits you with track on, your character just disappears. So we'll see if that's going to be a big factor here for TongFu. And I feel like they're going to be wanting to play the aggressors here. A late game Lifestealer is pretty strong. I mean, he's not the greatest mid-game in my opinion, but his late game is still fairly comparable to something like a Bounty Hunter or even maybe a CK, depending on how they build him.
Yeah.
But CK at this point, still kind of soft-spoken, only 29 CS and 0-1 at the moment, 4 assists, so still not really farming that great. And that's probably because he was actually in a lane where, in my opinion, he shouldn't have been farming well because he was up against an Invoker. But I still feel like this game could go either way. It's just going to be up to the next 5 or 10 minutes, I think, to see who's going to get like the mid-game advantage.
Yeah, well, it's, again, I don't know that TongFu can afford not to. They have the heroes that need to capitalize there. They can't allow Nakes and Morphling to hit the late-game stage with comfortable farm. It doesn't mean they have to win outright by 30 minutes, but they need to be pushing towers. They need to be keeping those two heroes scared to go free farm. If they don't do that, IG's lineup's going to kick in once that Morphling gets built. We saw that last time. We're likely to see it again. Morphling is tops on the board right now, 57 last hits, TA right behind. But again, I mean, TA is a good hero throughout all stages of the game, but especially good during the mid stages, especially when you're going to rush out the phase boots and the blink. So TongFu has to capitalize on that. IG very well aware of it, playing very cautiously now. YYF setting up shop in the jungle. He did opt for the drums, as expected, so they'll be looking to move him around a bit as we approach 20 minutes. CK, not the best farm in the world. He's got 1,300 in the bank, 3 iron branches. Oh, wow. YYF just wandered into a lot of trouble. Taking a lot of damage. Looks like he's going to have a chance to get away there, moving very quickly, courtesy of the drums. But Reality Rift pulls him back into the fight. Now, 4-second Chaos Bolt. Chen blows the heal, trying to keep him alive. Not going to be enough. He is going to drop. That was with track as well. And that's where Bounty Hunter really comes into play. That's really the advantage he gives you. If you can get a bunch of kills with track on, things just get way out of hand very quickly. Speaking of, San Sheng going to be disrupted. Soul Catcher's out as well. He's already been dusted, so he has nowhere to go. That's a lot of Chen creeps that are not going to let him get away. And Chen is actually going to be on a killing spree at this point. Make it 7-7 as they do pay back the favor. They do avenge Nakes. And yeah, that's 3 kills for TA and 3 kills for Chen both. Now, the EMP Tornado is actually, it's going to catch Rubik, not going to catch Veno. Rubik with no mana left. Ferrari holding down the fort in this tower, but if there's anything worth mentioning, it's the fact that Zhao's back to free farming, sitting on 65 last hits at 15 minutes.
He's leading the game once again, and I think this is going to continue to be a trend because it's really hard to keep a Morphling down. You can have replicates all over the place, especially once you get to 11 and it lasts for 45 seconds as opposed to just 30. And I feel bad for the Nyx right there because if it had been any other two heroes, he probably would have gotten away.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how fast he was moving right there. He drummed and phased away. I mean, he had over 400 move speed easily right there. And unfortunate that he was running away from a CK who has one of the highest move speeds in the game and a track. So he just couldn't get away. And really nice patience, too, by the bounty, waiting for him to pop his rage before he retracked, because it would have not given him the bonus move speed if he waited, or if he didn't wait, rather, because it would have went off.
IG assembling now in mid. Looks like they want to press this tower. There's a disruption that's going to catch Sansheng. Sansheng trying to make it. That's a lot of burst DPS. Holy crap. All of his life disappeared. He's down for 25 seconds. Let's see if IG wants to capitalize. TA in the meantime, though, in bottom lane, farming up, and this is what she needs to do. She needs to get into a position where she's going to be, I mean, obviously not a lot she can do here. Oh, wow. Open wounds on Awoke. Awoke's going to drop as well. Just way out of position. Really had no business being there. Now with Vino coming in, however, as well as Moo. Shadow Demon making a run for it. He's going to be force staffed to safety. Buys him a little bit of time. Moo looks a little indecisive. And now the disruption buys him a little time as well. Moo making a run for it. In the meantime, we see CK doing good damage. However, Morphling just tough to bring down, as you pointed out. Invoker with the track on him, being pursued by Sansheng and Hao, heading to the south. Into the river. Runs the rest of his team. That's a good trade for TongFu. This is what they need to have happen. Anytime Moo shows up, they need IG needs to have that feeling that they just need to scatter. They didn't scatter that time, and they paid the price.
Yeah, Zal's going to be forced back here as well. He might actually get pulled back in. He could be in trouble here.
He's morphing the strength, trying to stay alive. TP reactions coming in. Committing very hard to this. There's the heal from Chen, but with the blink, Sansheng is going to be picked off on the... No, I thought they had dusted him. They hadn't. No dust, so he does manage to survive and get back to safety. TA could afford to dive a little bit, courtesy of the blink, but... Either way, it's 10-10, man. We got a barn burner on our hands. Take a look at the gold. We are just about exactly at 0.
Not really surprising. The one thing that IG has to be careful of is to not get into too many skirmishes against the bounty hunter. I mean, he died at the beginning, so that's why they chose to engage. Good call, but he's so low level that by the time the fight was almost over, he was up in time to retrack the Invoker. I mean, as time goes on, those kills are going to matter. It's just a matter of when that track gets to level 2 and then level 3, consequently after that once it gets to level 16. But right now, it's only level 1, so it's not too bad to trade, but it's only going to get worse for IG. They need to try to make something happen or farm up on the Morphling and the Nyx and try to go for just one big all-in-ish type push, which I think would probably be a better decision than trying to fight mid-game TA and a CK as well. Those are really, really strong mid-game heroes, as we just saw right there. Even a Nyx, who's typically very, very good against strength heroes, he couldn't really do too much to the CK there because the CK is very high base armor and just overall mobility.
Zal going to be forced back again. Reality Rift not going to connect. Lots of oh wow, just too much damage, courtesy of the Chaos Strike, which has its first point into it from Hal, so very fortuitous Chaos Strike to land right there. Make it 11-10. Morphling is picked off again. And tell you the truth, this is what... I mean, it's hard to call. You don't want to try and give TongFu the opening to just pick and push like that. But at the same time, the onus is on TongFu to capitalize on their composition. Their composition, strong late game, but much stronger mid game. I'm kind of the mind that IG ought to just turtle up a little bit. A forced TongFu, well, never mind. There's another death on Shadow Demon. Just 100% melts in the shadow of his own Tier 1 top tower. But yeah, I mean, you've got Chen there to keep everyone alive. Invoker, of course, with his AoE spells, etc., etc., etc. We can go down the list. Why not fall back and force TongFu to push into you and just rely on you being able to react and kind of nullify the advantage in all of the movement speed that Templar Assassin has with the phase boots and the blink? It's just kind of taken out of the fight a little bit, but we'll see. IG a bit out of position again. Got to be real careful. And they're very well aware of it. Oh, wow, that's actually going to catch both of them. Ferrari tosses out the EMP Tornado. It's enough to force everyone back and buy them a little bit of time. Morphling has fallen off a little bit in terms of farm. Was leading the board quite handily at one point. Now sitting on just 78 as we approach 20 minutes. He's only got his treads, a mask, a wand, and a bottle, and only 1,800 gold in the bank. Quite a different story from Game 1.
Yeah, we could see a fight here as well.
Yep, Chaos Knight is going to be picked off. Open wounds more than enough. Now Awoke a bit too far forward. Off goes the Venom ulti. We got to buy back very quickly. Chin pops the heal to keep everyone in shape to fight. Venomous Gale catches 3, but now the counter charge. We're going to see CK pick off Invoker very quickly. Up on the high side, Chin making a run for it, and Morphling's there to do some good damage as well. TongFu, though, just looking like they're too strong. IG with a decent amount of burst still just can't hang on and can't hold in the fight. Nake's making a run for the tier 2 on the backside. Faith going to be lifted by Rubik. And Lifestealer is going to be picked off. That's 4-0. Or I guess you can say they got 1 out of it that bought back immediately. And, yeah, Morphling even in some trouble. Morphling may drop here. Moo doing good damage. Can they? Yeah, that's a full wipe. 17-11. TongFu cracks this game wide open. They're thinking game 3.
I'm thinking game 3 after that. I
Yeah.
mean, now we're considering level 2 track and the bounty hunter as well. I mean, IG simply can't afford to give away any more kills like this. We might see a return kill. Actually, maybe not. Cowboy's going to go ahead and just TP out of here. So they're not even going to get him. I mean, that buyback from CK, as soon as I saw that, get out. Like, just don't even try to fight. It was an immediate buyback, and they still had a tier 1 tower. So that was really a favorable engagement for IG until that buyback happened. I mean, CK almost died twice, and the problem is they basically had to fight 6-on-5.
Yeah.
They got the 1, and they're like, okay, we got a pretty good engagement here, and then instant buyback, and then he just... CK's too fast. I mean, he got to the fight too quickly. They didn't have time to react to it, and they just were forced to fight. If they didn't, they would have just all... Well, I guess you could say they still all died for nothing, but, I mean, probably would have happened either way.
Yeah. TongFu capitalizing on their lineup, doing a very solid job. Moo in particular playing very well. 85 last hit, 6 kills, 1 death, 4 assists. Lifestealer's been hanging in, but again, he's just a hero that's very reliant on items to be able to hang and go toe-to-toe with a hero like that. Open Wounds, very strong ability, but that's twice in a row now. Basically, once Open Wounds was done, you just saw Lifestealer just kind of feel useless. He just didn't do enough damage. He died pretty quickly, was on the run a lot of the time. IG, though, wants to narrow the gold gap that was just opened by TongFu, trying to bring down this tower. Let's see what they're willing to pay for it. They do manage to deny the tower in mid, and... yeah, we're just going to see a TP away by YYF. He is going to make it back home, but you could just see the damage potential there. Almost died regardless. And TongFu, feeling like they're in the lead, knowing they're in the lead, wants to take command of this game. In excess of 5,000 gold differential. Looks like it could go even further up, because I don't know that they can challenge this tier 2 tower. Ferrari and Chuan hanging around the backside, got to be very careful. Woke does manage to grab 1, but... throws him back towards the tier 3. Ferrari throws out the tornado. Again, just trying to buy some time. EMP out as well. That is going to miss everyone. Still decent enough to buy some time. Let's see. IG, are they going to try? Are they going to go for it? Here they come. Off goes the ulti from TA, however, slows the entire team down. So they do manage to keep the tower alive as TF pulls back. But IG... definitely playing from behind now. It's only going to get worse. They've got to get some farm on Morphling. They've got to get some farm on Lifestealer.
I don't know if it's going to be... I mean, this is a hard position for IG because, again, their lineup can fight. It's a very, very strong lineup, but can you ever really win when you're trading against a bounty hunter? I mean, that hero just makes it so even if you get an extra kill, you're basically still going at the very least even. Yeah, you'll get more experience, but the gold isn't really ever going to swing in their favor unless they just stomp a team fight. Like, they have to just completely knock it out of the park. And TongFu has been playing a lot better this game. I mean, they didn't make the same mistake they did in Game 1. They had decent lanes. They were able to solidify themselves some kind of early game to not have to worry about just getting completely run over like they did in Game 1 versus IG. And now you have TA, Bounty Hunter, CK, all amazing mid-game heroes, along with the support Rubik, I mean, who's got a free BKB now because of his rage, which is really nice. I mean, we saw him pop it a few times. It's actually kind of cool. He just turns red. It's kind of cute, actually, because he's, like, kind of small and harmless looking, and then he just gets red. But other than that, I think that TongFu's in a very, very good position.
Very much agreed. We'll see if IG's up to the task. But it does begin to feel as if it's going to be a little bit out of reach. If Morphling had a little bit better farm, I would say they had a much better chance, but he's sitting just on Yasha right now so far as big items go. Chuan is going to make it back to safety at top. In mid, IG just kind of holding the line as best as they can. But, yeah, I mean, TongFu knows. They're in total control right now. And Mu has done an amazing job on TA. It's everything we talked about. This TA has made every bit of IG afraid to get out of position at all. They have to run in pairs now. They can't afford to even feel safe under their own tower. Just a pure damage output coming out of Mu is absurd. And now we have the Maelstrom up as well on the way to Mjolnir. Only going to continue to get worse. But, I mean, again, I think this is what IG should have done before. I feel like they pushed out into fights that were going to be tough to win in the first place. And as you mentioned, when you're dealing with a bounty hunter on the other team, even if you break even in a fight, you're still losing. I think they should have just turtled up like we're beginning to see now. Allow their heroes to get their farm. Chin has completed his mechs. It's been a pretty late mechs. I think that came out about 24 minutes. But just allow your supports to get their items. Allow Morphling, for example, to get whatever item he's going to go for, most likely a Manta. And try to fight on those terms. Don't get out and about and moving around the map a lot where TA is going to be able to isolate one or even two of you just for easy kills. And Zhao is going to take some damage here. Going to go ahead and use the replicant, however. And looks like, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and hold his ground. Not feeling too scared of TA right now. And this is kind of how TA functions. The later into the game we go, unless TA just gets absurd and builds unbelievable damage, like the Divine Rapier build we've seen out of her before, she's going to fall off a little bit. As heroes get tankier, even with her mass DPS, it just isn't enough. And the refraction just goes down too quickly.
Yeah, this game just has a completely different feel to it from last game, and I just wanted to point it out really fast, like not to change the subject, but Maelstrom on a TA is a little bit strange for me.
Yeah.
Typically you see something like a Desolator because they're already going to have the -R from track, and a Woke's going to get picked off mid here in the meantime. He got pretty much triple ganked there, not much he could do, which is good for IG. I mean, anytime they can stop the momentum from TongFu, that's going to be to their advantage. They want to keep doing stuff like that, always make sure that you can punish people for being out of position and whatnot. But overall, yeah, I think that TA probably would have been better served just going for something like a Stygian, and he's actually got an ultimate orb on top of his Maelstrom, so I guess he just wants to have like every kind of weird item that he can possibly make. Maybe he's going for a Manta, who knows.
But see, again, another good example. Like, as dangerous as a TA is, she just begins to fall off as you get up towards 30, 40 minutes. We're already beginning to see it. That would have been a kill, no doubt about it, 5 minutes ago. Just no doubt about it. In the meantime, TongFu does take a free tower at top, so they are getting the job done elsewhere. But, especially again with the item build, I mean, it's like, it seems like they're trying to build her a little bit tanky, like a little bit survivability, which she should have anyway, just by courtesy of refraction at this stage of the game. And meld as well. But either way, we see the reaction of TongFu. Looks like they now want to try and push his bottom tower. Zhao continues to farm up a bit. Really going to be pivotal that he gets some items in his inventory if IG wants to have any shot here. Morphling does go ahead and deny the final remaining outer tier tower for IG, so they're in full defensive mode. And I think they have a chance if they just turtle up and play this right. Morphling could afford to get out and about a little bit, so long as he always has a replicate up, but he's got to be careful otherwise. Aegis is going to come out, and I don't know that they're going to be able to challenge this, really. Instead, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and, again, just turtle up. Right call. They're going to have to win this fight. If they can somehow emerge victorious over TongFu with an Aegis, even with Bounty Hunter track, I feel like they're going to have bought themselves enough time that TA is going to be much less of a factor, and Morphling is going to begin to come into his own. He does have a DD bottled up, so he might have that to call on as well. But it's an interesting game. And I keep staring at TA's items. I'm kind of with you. The more I think about it, she's going to fall off kind of a little bit anyway. This build does not help that at all.
Maybe this is something that people have seen before, but I definitely haven't seen it before. Yeah. I'm very used to the blink straight Desolator into something like a crit. Yeah. I know people that do different builds than that, but this build doesn't really seem to complement the hero at all. Yeah. I mean, minus armor is very, very strong, especially in large numbers. I was thinking that the Rubik might get something like a Medallion, help them kill Roche faster than you already have track minus armor and the TA with the meld. I mean, you were talking -8 from that. Level 2 track is what, -3? And then you have Medallion, which is an additional -7. I think that would have been pretty much TA one-shotting people, not to mention the Desolator, which would have been an additional -6. So like over, what, 20 armor?
Yeah.
I think that's what they were going to go for, especially with the CK. I mean, it helps him too. That hero does a tremendous amount of right-click, especially with Phantasm out. I mean, I'm a little bit confused by the item choice of this TA. And not to say that it's going to make them lose the game or anything. They're actually still in a very commanding lead.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like, why not capitalize on the synergy that you already have right in front of you?
No, I agree completely. To me, this is the third or fourth time I've used this phrase. It's an unnecessary risk. You can see kinda what they're going for, and you can see how it can work and how it may work. But why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why take a chance on doing something unorthodox whenever chances are orthodoxy is going to get you a win and get you to game 3? Oh well, we'll see. Morphling playing the bait. IG running en masse down this bottom lane. I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of this, because they're going to gank Morphling. They're going to bring the whole party. They're most likely not going to bring 1 or 2 heroes. Venomous Gale, TP reaction. Zal is going to pull back. Here we go, though. IG comes out of the woodwork. They're going to catch Veno. EMP goes off. CK kind of caught out a bit here, but just look at IG melt. And yeah, this is... I don't know why you would try to do something like that. Again, they were the best chance they had was the turtle up. Instead, they just fed a lot more kills, and Bounty Hunter's going to get another kill on the backside. Zal might maybe. No, he's not even going to get CK. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, they knew they were very, very far behind, and Zhao might actually die here too. He has Replicate in 5 seconds, but is he even going to live that long? That's my question. Yeah, I don't think so. He's a goner. So, yeah, it didn't really matter in the end that Mu went for a little bit of an unorthodox item build. And, yeah, it was a risk, but, again, they were just so far ahead. And I guess we're going to have somebody disconnect without the GG. Looks like nobody GG'd from IG. I guess we're going to have a game 3, though, barring some maybe... Not really sure.
There you go. Zal tosses it out.
Thank you, Zal.
I like how just question mark GG. GG. Indeed. Very well played from TongFu. Not going to lie. It's like watching 2 different teams. TongFu really had some questionable decisions. Struggled a bit in game 1. Looked completely outclassed, if we're to be honest, in game number 1. This time, though, shoes definitely on the other foot. IG playing from behind from about the 10-minute mark. Never really got themselves back into it. They knew, I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not that they were playing from behind per se. It was pretty close in gold for quite some time. But TA was going to hit her stride. There was, that's what TA is going to do. She's going to be a force in the mid game. And the way to deal with that is to make sure you have late game potential and the ability to survive that stride in the mid game. And just wasn't the case. Taking a look at the scoreboard. It's tough to call who I want to give MVP to. This is another one of those games where TongFu just worked so well as a unit that it's easy to go, well, 9-1-6, obviously, Templar Assassin, and Mu did play very, very well. But a lot of her success was dedicated to her supports.
I agree. I just think that TA still, like you said, she played well. Item choices aside, I felt that they were a little bit strange, but it ultimately ended up not mattering too much.
Yep.
They still managed to pretty much win the game decisively, and I don't really fault IG for making the call that they did. I mean, when you know you're behind, you know you're going to have to turtle for another, I don't know, like 30 minutes to even have a chance. And that's under the situation where you're going to be restricted to farming outside of your base, which is not the most efficient use of your time, whereas TongFu's going to be able to farm the whole map. So I still feel like Mu played very, very well. I still would give him MVP. His traps were pretty much on point the whole game. He used his blink very well. He always knew when to time his refraction, so I still think he played great, even if he did have a great support coming out from this team.
Very well said, very well stated, very well played by both teams. Game number 3 heading our way. Winner of that game will advance to our Final Four here at Monthly Madness Asia. I'm AC, that's Draskell. Stick with us. Game 3 on the way next.